What was that? I just heard a large boom. Hey guys, happy Father's Day. Happy Sunday. We gotta talk. Click like when you come in, load on in. We gotta talk. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. We have to talk tonight. Come on in, guys. Come on in. Hey, everybody. Come on in. We gotta talk tonight. We gotta talk. A lot went down this week, and I don't see a lot of black platforms talking about it, and I wonder why. We're going to discuss it here tonight. Share this with someone. If you know someone who got inoculated, if you know anyone who maybe passed away during the era of the lockdowns, send this to them. There's a lot going on. Currently, we have 27 states filing lawsuits against 23&Me in order to protect the data of Black Americans and the people who have made it with Black Americans. It's a lot going on. I'm here to unpack it. I have been following this for a while. I have been watching Senate hearings for a while, especially in particular Senate hearings surrounding what happened during the years of COVID. I guess not only for my own kind of um, knowledge for myself, but for closure. I lost everything during that era just because of how I was talking online. I lost so much. I lost everything. I went from being the only Black woman in the room with the CEO of Mercedes, CEO of BMW, the CEO of CSX, all the transportation bigwigs. I went from being in, speaking in the same rooms as them to not even getting an invite. Just nothing. I lost my company. I lost everything during this era of COVID. And now with all of this stuff coming out, the things that I was saying online that made me lose everything, it all makes sense now. There was a huge cover up happening, and while I knew nothing about the cover up, I was somehow able to unpack it in a way through fury, through emotions, through my own research. And here we are, June 2025. Senate hearings. You have the Congress fighting like dogs to stop the sale of 23&Me. And we're going to discuss tonight why. So, everybody load in. Please share the live. There is no way we don't have 1,000 people in here. It may tie into the Diddy case. Who knows? Who knows how this thing can be unpacked? How many ways this can be unpacked? Tonight, we're going to watch a few clips. We're going to discuss a few things here tonight. A lot of heartbreaking things. The reason, one main reason I want to come on and talk about this is because, and I hope you guys can hear me really good. Maybe I need to bring my mic closer. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of whispering. I hope I'm not. But while all the states are suing, everybody who has ever sent data into 23&Me, it was said in this Senate hearing today, all last week, something that we kind of knew we knew it in our gut that even if your second cousin send the data in to 23andMe, that opens up your whole genetic pool. According to the Senate hearing, hundreds of millions of data was sent, which opens them up to billions. And that amount of data was absolutely used to generate a bioweapon. And the fact that we are here in 2025 and this germ has already happened, this is what we're going to unpack tonight. And it's what we have been unpacking. So let's get started. I want to wait to folks load in. This really bothers me. It really bothers me when I go live and my videos are not being pushed. And this is absolutely something that we must discuss. Must. And now that I think of it, even the 23andMe hearings were not pushed into the algorithm. I wonder why. The connection, the cousinship of YouTube CEO and 23andMe's CEO. So let's start here. Here we have the Senate Judiciary Committee. Like I said, these hearings have been happening all last week. No TikTokers talking about it. None of those people in the chat who was telling y'all, hey, go do your DNA. We found out during these Senate hearings that those people were actually paid by the CCP. We're about to get into it. Let's get into it. Let's listen to this one.
They give your customers, I just want to make sure I understand your business model. Your customers give you their genetic information for you to run various tests on. Is that right?
Let me make sure y'all can hear it. Can y'all hear that? Can y'all hear it?
Yes, that is correct.
And that's pretty sensitive stuff, isn't it? Somebody's genetic information. Is there anything more?
Can y'all hear it? I'm going to make sure before I keep going. Let me know in the comment section. Can y'all hear the video? Okay. Am I on a delay? Are y'all in here? Let me know if you guys can hear it. Can you guys hear the audio? Oh, where are my admins? Yes. Okay.
Personal than that?
I would agree with you, Senator, that genetic data is sensitive information.
And so now you're just going to sell all of it? 15 million people, bunches of kids, maybe millions. It's just going to be sold in the open market?
Tesla is finished. Elon has failed. That is what they want you to believe. But tech expert Jeff Brown.
As Senator, the good news, as I mentioned, is that the two bidders or buyers for the company, one is Regeneron, which is
That's the big pharma company? It doesn't make me feel any better.
It's a large pharmaceutical company.
All right, so you're gonna take 15 million Americans' genetic information and you're gonna sell it to somebody, and your message to us is today, trust us, it'll be fine. Maybe it's a big pharma company. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe they'll treat it right. I thought your privacy code, your privacy commitment said that consumers had a right not to have their information shared with anybody else without their consent. I've got your privacy statement right here. It says that without their consent, you can't share their information. You're about to sell it.
Senator, that consent is, essentially for,
not real?
Not share for research purposes, and we are not selling it for research.
For research purposes.
purposes.
So when you tell the consumer, give us your personal information and we'll take money from you, and we won't give it to anybody without your consent, it's not real. It just means, maybe kind of depends on the day.
Senator, I will say that our customers' data is their own. They have the right at all times to access that information. They can edit it.
Well, sure they can, but you're about to sell it to who knows who. They can't control it. You said to Senator Moody that consumers have complete control of their data. Complete. How can they have complete control if you're about to sell it without their consent?
Senator, they can delete that data anytime up until the sale and after.
Oh, okay. They can delete the data. Have you fixed the ability of customers to go on your website and delete it? Because right after you announced your sale, your deletion page went down. I hold in my hand here an article from the Wall Street Journal. 23&Me site goes down as customers struggle to delete their data. Can they even get onto your site to delete their data?
They can, Senator. And
you fixed this?
That was an issue that, yes, we fixed immediately after.
It's up and running now? Customers can go on?
Customers can go on and they can delete their data.
What happens when they go onto your site to delete their data?
When a customer logs into their account at 23&Me, they go to their settings page, and there's a section there where just click delete my data. It confirms that they want to delete their data, and it's deleted automatically.
Is that true? Let's take a look.
Okay.
When they go onto your page, they get an opportunity. It says permanently delete the data. So they click the button that says permanently delete the data, and then they get a notification that says your account is no longer accessible. How do they know if they can't access their account anymore? How do they know their data's been deleted?
Because we send them a notification that their information has been deleted.
You send it once, and how long does that take?
Our policies state that, we will delete their data within 30 days, and in most cases, it is automatic and happens much quickly.
And when you delete it, it's deleted. It's gone forever.
All the genetic data is deleted forever, and yes.
Really? Because that's not what your privacy statement says in the fine print. Let's read it. What your statement says is, we retain personal information for as long as necessary to provide the services and fill the transactions you have requested, to comply with our legal obligations, resolve disputes, enforce agreements, et cetera, et cetera. And then it goes on, 23&Me and or our contracted genotyping laboratory will retain your genetic information even if you choose to delete your account.
Senator, 23&Me, it does not retain any genetic information regarding the consumer once they delete their account. We do.
It says right here that you will retain genetic information, including date of birth and sex, even if you choose to delete your account. This is your privacy policy. I'm just quoting from it.
Senator, to the best of my knowledge, we do not.
So we hear the filibustering on that. I want to start off with that because he said 15 million people. Only one of your cousins had to send their DNA in to unlock your nuclear genome. So you have, essentially, scientists are looking at 3 sections of your DNA: your paternal, your maternal, and your nuclear. The nuclear is the genetic makeup that you have that comes from all of your ancestors. So if one of your cousins send their DNA in, that nuclear DNA matches your same nuclear DNA. That's just the overall genetic makeup of you, your cousins, your aunties, your uncles, your daddy, your mom. It makes up, well, not your mom, your dad. It makes up your nuclear family in a nutshell. I'm just trying to give you like the cliff notes, basically. So it's 15 million people in America. With those 15 million people in America, the amount of data that was able to be extracted is more than any other continent. It was so diverse, these samples, because these genetics are so old. This Senate hearing, 23&Me has genetic information from people all over the planet. But the buyers want just America. Now, in an earlier video, and we're going to keep on, we're going to play some more of this, some more snippets from this hearing. Earlier, I don't know whether that was April when I did the show when I was talking about Albert Perry. During Obama's administration, there was something called the Crimson Contagion that happened. During the same era, one of Albert Perry's descendants sent in his DNA. They could not analyze his DNA, so they sent it all over the world. Scientists from all over the world was trying to analyze this DNA that came from a person from South Carolina. They could not date this DNA from this Black American. And so then they isolated the DNA strand and said, this Y chromosome, we're going to call this the Perry chromosome because it's the oldest that we've ever seen. They then took that and predated the Adam and Eve story, because now this DNA that came from the person in South Carolina somewhere around 2014, it's older than anything the scientists had ever seen. 2015, 23&Me gets a huge amount of money, millions, from a Chinese company that's linked to the CCP. 2015. Now we're creeping up to the Crimson Contagion being drafted. The Crimson Contagion draft, which happened somewhere around 2015 as well, if I'm not mistaken, because Obama did 2 terms back to back so he was in office roughly until 2016. So the Crimson Contagion that was drafted was the exact COVID rollout. Now, this money that came from China came up in this Senate hearing. And I'm not sure who brought it up. Was it Marjorie Taylor Greene? We're about to look at it. We're about to look at it. Now, also, in an additional Senate hearing that happened prior to this, when they were talking about the vaccine being created in a Wuhan lab, they brought up the research triangle in North Carolina, which I think is Durham, Raleigh, Wake Forest. If anybody's from North Carolina, please let me know if I'm correct. I think the research triangle is Durham, Raleigh, and North Carolina. But one of those universities up there, Duke, maybe Wake Forest, and one other. Inside of this research triangle is a company called LabCorp. LabCorp is the people who, when you go to the doctor, you have to send in a specimen, a urine sample, all of that. LabCorp is the company that basically analyzes whatever you send in from the hospital. You see LabCorps all over the place, but it's headquartered right there in the research triangle. Now, there was a Senate hearing where these Chinese nationals went directly from the Wuhan lab in China to the research triangle, and they made that vaccine. And so the vaccine, and it's a whole Senate hearing on this, the vaccine went from Wuhan lab to the research triangle. Put a pin in that. Also, 23&Me is 100%. Every spit sample, please share this live, please. Because you already know it's going to be demonetized. My last live that I did yesterday was demonetized. This is going to be doubly demonetized, because I already said COVID more than 2 times. And plus, I watch all these Senate hearings, these 4-hour, 5-hour long Senate hearings. The one that was on this Wuhan lab and research triangle, it was a whole day The Senate hearing was so long, I was sitting on my bed the whole day watching this hearing. I could not take my eyes off the screen. I could not peel my ears away because I had no clue that these Chinese people, these Chinese nationals, were going directly from the research triangle, which is full of black people. All of these lab courts from the research triangle to the Wuhan lab, going back and forth, creating this vaccine. Prior to launching COVID. Prior to the lockdowns, prior to all of that, it was already created. So that's why they were able to draft the Crimson Contagion, because they knew what was coming. Now, it just so happened the Albert Perry thing happened, put a pin in that. Then all the money came from China a year later. Actually, it wasn't even a full year later. It was months later. The big investment came from the CCP-backed venture capitalist fund to 23&Me, hidden in plain sight, very hush-hush. That gave the Chinese nationals the en route to the research triangle to get right there into LabCorp. 100% of the spit samples, of the DNA samples of your genome that you send into 23&Me is processed at LabCorp. 100% of the data. You send it into 23&Me, they send it to LabCorp. Chinese paid to get access to the data. Next thing you know, let's watch this as we continue.
Our water should be safe to drink, but dangerous chemicals known as PFAS have polluted water supplies across.
I recognize myself for 5 minutes for questioning. I think it's important to note, and as America observes this fascinating hearing, that digital data is not secure. You have reports of, according to my research, about 27% of Fortune 500 companies have had major data breaches. These are the wealthiest companies, the most advanced security systems. Data breach statistics show a significant increase in both the number of breaches and the number of records exposed within those breaches. For example, in the United States, the number of data breaches increased from 447 in 2012 to over 3,200 in 2023. In 2023, 353 million individuals were impacted by data compromises. And globally, data breaches exposed over 818 million data sets in the first quarter of 2024. So it's intellectually unsound to discuss digital data as if it was secure. And therein lies the problem, because Ms. Wojcicki, 23&Me, congratulations on the success of the company. I'm a Republican. I support free enterprise. I'm glad you had a good run, but let's talk about the issue right now. Because 23&Me began with a DNA swab, and that swab was sent in to a laboratory, I presume, 23&Me, and that laboratory analyzed that physical data and created a digital file. Is that correct?
Yes, we
Okay.
would.
We're moving quickly. I'm just summarizing here for the American people. You send in a swab, it's physical DNA. That's received by a laboratory and transitioned to a digital file. At that point, America, no longer secure. And I need to only point to modern history and data breaches and digital theft. But let's move a little bit deeper into this consideration. In these laboratories in 23&Me, did you have Chinese nationals working, ma'am?
So 23&Me contracted with LabCorp.
Yeah. Did you have Chinese nationals working in laboratories that were processing the DNA physical data and transitioning that data to digital files?
So LabCorp is a public company. It's one of the largest lab testing.
Yes or no? Whatever.
I didn't control their hiring.
Would you believe me when I tell you the answer is yes? You had Chinese nationals. Listen to this, America. You sent in your DNA on a swab. No problem. That's cool to check your family history and your family tree. But, you know, I did it too. But the expectation of privacy of your digital data was gone the moment you put that thing in the mail. And now Congress has to determine whether or not we're going to allow the abject sale of that data. And let me just say that we're going to draft legislation, Mr. Salsavage. We will draft legislation. I don't know if we'll get it right because it's complex. I would estimate there'll probably be a dozen different iterations of legislation covering DNA digital data control over the next decade. But Congress must act in response to this newly emergent threat, because you're not just talking about 15 million people for 23&Me. According to my research, over the course of 30 years, 15 million people become 100 million descendants. It's the same basic DNA profile, therefore subject to the same threat of biological weaponization of that DNA profile, and that DNA profile exists in the digital realm where we already acknowledge it's not secure.
Now, that was the House committee. These hearings was happening all last week. Quiet. Everybody quiet like a mouse. Everybody quiet like a mouse. Meanwhile, the DOJ and all of their attorneys in every state are filing lawsuits left and right. 27 at the current moment. In order to stop the sale of 23&Me right now. So, Wojciech, please share this live, guys. If you've never shared a live that I have ever done, this is the one. Because like he said, it's 15 million people, but that's over 100 million descendants easily. And it gets more sinister because there are so many here. I'm just playing clips from some of the hearings, guys. What 23&Me data was used for. When you sent your little swab in, they created a digital file, right? That digital file was then accessed by credit card companies. Did you know that credit card companies can deny you based on your genetics? See, this is something that the NAACP should be all over. This is discrimination. They were able to openly discriminate. Who knew? Who knew? Did you know insurance companies had access to your 23&Me profiles, your genetic data? Did you know life insurance companies had access? So no matter what you fill out, did you know jobs? Did you know employers were able to access your 23&Me profiles and based on your genetic data? Did you know that? I'm 7 days in. I'm actually about 4 days in on the knowledge. I'm a newbie. I'm a neophyte. So you were openly discriminated against. You were targeted, and it gets worse. It gets worse. So what have we learned so far? They turned your spit into a digital profile. Here's where it gets sinister. You had a number of people online telling you, as you was looking for your family, as you was trying to do your family trees. It got really popular during COVID. It got really popular. You had a number of people online telling you, you need to do your DNA. You don't do your genealogy. Don't do your genealogy. You need to do your DNA. You're not from America. You're from Africa. You're from Africa. Did you know that 23, that's not the company that 23&Me is? That's not even what 23&Me is. It's a genome company. It's a bio and tech company. It analyzes data for the medical field and the science field. Now, in these hearings, that was brought up. And when I say they danced around the fact that there was a whole marketing campaign marketed to the black people in America about finding what slave ships you docked from. There was a whole entire marketing campaign, but the actual company is saying is acting like they had nothing to do with it. They didn't know what was going on. They had nothing to do with it. They didn't know people were sending their spit in solely because they want to know whether they were from Africa. They thought people were sending their spit in to know what was in their genetic makeup, to know whether they had some brown, whether their brown eyes was ancient, to know whether they had the propensity to have cancer. They are literally saying this in the hearing. They're acting really dumb, like they didn't know people were sending their spit in to, and they pretended like, oh, that other stuff was just for entertainment purposes. Ha. No, it wasn't for entertainment purposes. You used that on the front end of your company in order to lure people in to give their DNA up because they wanted to genuinely know where they were from. You knew that's not what your company was doing with the data. You created that and you put that on the front of your website. Find out where you're from. Find out who you are. And you knew you was a bio and tech company. You knew you was a genome-based company that functioned 100% out of LabCorp, which processes data for hospitals and science companies. And they sat in that Senate hearing and played dumb. 23&Me was never marketed to the black community as a genome company. It was never marketed to the black community as, hey, send us your spit and we'll tell you whether you could possibly have heart disease. It was never marketed to black Americans that way. But it was a whole group of people online just popped up like little crypt keepers telling people, you're not, when you're trying to find your family, telling people, you're not from America. You're not from America. You're from Africa. You're from Africa. And had nothing to verify whether these people was from Africa. Do you know they use something as simple as the people who got brown eyes, we're going to say they're all from Africa. But in the fine print, it does say for entertainment purposes. So who's the fool? Now, isn't that deceptive marketing? Is that not deceptive marketing? Can people not sue them for deception? Now, I never sent my spit in because I already know this spit test cannot tell you what dirt you're from. And that has been my argument the whole time. When people have came in my chat, try to say, do your DNA E1B1. I already know spit can't tell you nothing about being E1B1. All it can do is find your relatives. That's what it could do. So if I have a relative over in Africa somewhere, then 23&Me can point me to Africa. But you're going to market it to me as if that's where I'm from. No, I just have a relative over there some fucking where. I don't know when they moved over there. I know they're over there. Obviously, they sent their spit in too. They could be from America. They could have moved over there during World War II, as far as I know. But you marketed that to the black community because you was looking for that Perry DNA. And you ramped up marketing after that Perry DNA sample was sent from South Carolina and you saw that old genetic material. And you sent it to scientists all over the planet to try to figure it out. And the Chinese wanted it. Because the Chinese was doing these extensive AI projects. And they wanted that data. They needed it. So let's continue. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
With a policy to protect its consumers, but there's little to guarantee that the next buyer or the one after that won't abuse that policy, is there?
Senator and Ranking Member, 23&Me has required as part of the sale of the assets of the company that any buyer of the company must comply and adopt the piracy policy and consents that 23&Me have in place today.
So I didn't think I'd ever say this in this room, but does the rule against perpetuities apply?
Congressman, can you clarify that for me?
I wish I've tried to forget every aspect of that course in law school, but what I'm suggesting to you is 2 or 3 buyers removed, your best intentions don't mean much, do they?
Senator and Ranking Member, my understanding is that, 23&Me is doing everything we can to ensure that the next buyer adopts the policies and consents of 23&Me. While I can't actually testify to their future intentions, both are, American institutions with experience in genomics and, are committed to protecting that data and continuing.
Unless we had a federal law relative to this issue that applies to future transactions, your best intentions don't mean much as far as I'm concerned, and don't take it personally. So, Professor Cohen, there was a best-selling book a few years ago called The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks.
Hello.
Fascinating book. Story of an African-American woman who died in 1951 of cervical cancer in Baltimore, if I'm not mistaken. A sample of her tumor generated what is known as the HeLa cell line. That cell line was mass-produced and sold to laboratories all over the world. It's been used in scientific research, including research into cancer, the human genome, and the development of the polio vaccine. It is still being used today. Famously, Henrietta Lacks never consented to the use of her cells in this way. And despite the vast sums of money the cell line has generated, her family's never seen a dime of profits. Part of what's being sold by 23&Me is a collection of biological samples submitted by consumers who wanted their DNA examined. They may have consented to some use of their samples, but I question how informed it actually was. And there's no guarantee a new owner won't change how those samples are used. Are you familiar with this story?
I am, Senator.
Is there anything we can learn from it in this application?
I think to learn for the importance of affirmative consent, and again, affirmative consent that can explain as much as possible what you want to do with the material. And again, we still haven't had an answer why at this stage they're not going back to all of their customers and asking, can you consent to the transfer of your data to this new buyer? It's a very simple thing that the company could do. Why aren't they doing it?
Mr. Savage, why aren't you doing it?
Senator, 23&Me believes we've obtained the consent from our customers, and when the customer signed up to the service, they have agreed and affirmatively to consent to our privacy and terms of service, which specifically says that we, in the event of a bankruptcy sale, that we can actually transfer their data.
Guys, did y'all hear that? Now, why did the good white man bring up Henrietta Lacks? See, Henrietta Lacks and Albert Perry had something very much in common. They was both Americans with this old American Negro DNA. Now, when 23&Me sent out that marketing campaign to find out which part of Africa that you were from, they knew damn well that ain't what they were doing. But they said, you all consented. They said you all consented to them using your DNA to make bioweapons and do whatever they want to do with it, just like they did with Henrietta Lacks. They said you consented for them to be able to use your DNA, your genetic makeup, to make pills, to make pharmaceuticals, to make transhumans, to do whatever they want to do, to use your DNA for their little They Clone Tyrone facilities, to make transhumans, whatever they want to do, bioweapons. You consented. The senator is saying you need to send something to all of your customers so that they can reconsent now that you're selling the company. And he sat his funny looking weird ass up there and said they've already consented. Please, 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 please. Click like and share the live. Let's go, Marjorie Taylor.
Very soon, I'll be closing the doors to my jewelry boutique.
Let's go, Marjorie Taylor.
Chair recognizes Ms. Green of Georgia for 5 minutes for questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Wojcicki, sorry, apologize. You co-founded 23&Me in 2006 and took the company public in 2021. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And this is all about DNA, which is we would call science. Is that right?
It was really about how individuals can learn about their own genetic information.
But DNA and the study of it is science. Is that correct?
It's about learning about their family, their ancestry, science, and their health risks.
Okay, so it's science. Now, in 2001, you reposted Dr. Raven, the science maven, who reposted my post of a sign that I kept outside of my office that said there are two genders, male and female, trust the science. And the attack on this, which you reposted, so you must have agreed with them, was as a scientist with a transgender parent, I need you to sit down. You don't know the science or the history. You trust the science. Science draws a difference between sex at birth and gender identity. The systematic incidentalization of gender is a product of colonization. What does colonization have to do with gender?
I haven't seen that in a long time. I don't.
You reposted it, though, so you must have known something about it. Also, 23&Me, the company that you led at the time, or that you're still there and you're trying to buy, opponents of trans rights use the phrase, trust the science, to make false claims about sex and gender. We support what the science actually says. Accepting and affirming trans people has a positive impact on their health. Trust the science, support trans health, which is really interesting because in DNA, it shows that there's only two sexes, two genders, male and female, and that should be something that you're you're very tied into that since you founded the company, co-founded the company, took it public, and you want to buy it again. So it's baffling that 23&Me, a company that specializes in DNA and people's very personal information and how God has designed human beings, would support and continue to support the trans ideology that this is something that can be changed. Have you ever seen any DNA or know of DNA that a biological male can give birth to a baby?
No.
No. So this is something that we know cannot be changed. That's scientific. That's the design of our DNA. And I don't understand, and I think most people don't understand, why 23&Me would take such a hard left political position supporting trans rights. And here's what's the really weird part about it, is it says, this is one of the many reasons why we've been working to improve our products for trans and non-binary customers. I thought your product is helping people understand their DNA, linking themselves with family trees. So I can't comprehend what kind of product 23&Me could give to people who identify themselves in some other way. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Another thing that's hard to understand is, the beauty of DNA is it's the beautiful design. It's God's design down to the finest detail, a granular level of how we're made, but it also helps people link with their family trees. Yet this is a letter that you put out after the SCOTUS ruling overturning Roe versus Wade, and you put out a letter very much against the ruling that the right should go back to the states. And you clearly put your own personal belief in here on the 23&Me social media that you are very much for the killing of the unborn, the killing of babies, which completely would destroy what your company is all about. How can we study DNA? How can we study people's lineage?
What in the Pizzagate is going on? What in the Pizzagate they clone Tyrone is going on? See, it was about lineage for the people who sent their spit in. It was about finding out which part of Africa they were from, because according to them, your genome, your genetic makeup, if you had brown eyes, you was from Africa. If you had blue eyes, you was from Europe. Green eye, that's literally how they did it. If you got a family member over in Africa, if you has 2 family members over there, that's where you're from. It's mighty funny that it wasn't until all of this stuff went down with 23&Me. All of these bio labs blowing up all over the place. You had one big one here in Conyers, because they've been using the Negroes in Metro Atlanta as lab dummies, just like they used the Negroes up in the Research Triangle in North Carolina as lab dummies. They've been using us and collecting data and putting it in these little bio facilities and doing all kind of weird ass shit with them, transhumanism, cloning, and all kind of stuff with that data. And then they start blowing these facilities up all over the place. And then 23&Me tried to make a change real quick here recently and start saying, yeah, some of you guys are from America. But that's the part that you clicked up on the front end side. On the front end side, you said, well, there are some American data sets and there are some Negroes that are from America. Now you have this African American tier on 23&Me that may link you to North Carolina, or may link you to Virginia. That's way after the fact, sweetheart. That's way after the fact you put all these campaigns out asking people, did they want to know which part of Africa they were from, playing on their emotions, and then using their genetic material and selling it off to China. And then hiring, with your partnership with the African Union, the CCP and the African Union partnership, hiring these Africans and your other Chinese nationals to badger people on the internet, to coerce them to send in their DNA. Niggas need to get sued over this. We ain't gonna just sit back and let the state sue. It gets worse though, guys. It gets worse. It gets worse. Let's see what else, Marjorie.
One of the very co-founders and who wants to own the company again supports the murder of the unborn, the murder of God's design, and the murder of God's creation, which we can link it to DNA. And Mr. Chairman, I'm running out of time, but I think that's 100% against the science, and I think it's 100% against God.
You guys, somebody is in some big trouble. Somebody is in big trouble. Now, this lady, was JoJo joke, is scrambling, trying to buy 23&Me back, right? Because for some reason they thought the senators would just sweep this under the rug, let this transaction go as planned with this Chinese-backed company buying 23&Me, right? They thought, oh, the American government don't care. The Republicans are in office. They're not paying attention. And now this shitstorm is happening in the House, in the Senate, and in Congress as a whole, with both Democrats and Republicans going in on them. So much so that as of this weekend, Wajojo is trying to now buy her company back through some nonprofit, which we don't even know who funded the nonprofit, because if you had the money in a nonprofit, then you wouldn't have been going through this public sale of everybody's genetic material. Now, the reason why it's so concerning for the government is because it has came down from the level of the Pentagon. There was a memo sent out to all military personnel, all veterans, all people associated with the United States military, to not send their DNA in to 23&Me. There was an additional memo sent out to all government workers to not send their spit swabs in to 23&Me. And then all hell broke loose, because they started unpacking the ties to the CCP and this new acquisition that would have given the CCP, China, even more of the data that they did not get prior to the lockdowns. Because remind you, when the vaccine was created in the Wuhan lab and the research triangle at LabCorp, when they initially gave 23&Me those millions of dollars to get in, there was lots of people, millions of people after that sent in DNA, because you remember during lockdowns, a whole nother round of Negroes start searching for their family members. And although we told you not to send your damn spit in, we told you to get with a genealogist and get with somebody to try to find out, to link it through the records, not through your spit. Even Ancestry got through under the bus during this hearing. Ancestry got through under the bus, because now it's out in the open as it relates to the government that these companies don't give a damn about the little family trees that y'all think they give a damn about. They don't give a damn about that. Even African ancestry, all this is over with, guys. All of it is over with. African ancestry, 23&Me, all of it is over with. Because now the government knows that these people don't give a damn about you building no family tree, you finding out that you're from Africa or Ireland. They know these companies don't care about that. What they've been doing is getting your genetic genome by any means necessary, getting your genetic material, analyzing that data, making pills, and guess what they want to do now? Make another bioweapon. And now it's a nuclear arms race. Just like Henrietta Lacks' cells was used to literally create nuclear medicine and nuclear weapons, which also led to nuclear bombs. Now there is another nuclear arms race, because again, you have 3 areas of DNA that's being analyzed: your paternal DNA, your maternal DNA, and your nuclear genetic makeup. Nuclear means all of your ancestors combined that makes you. Paternal means your dad's side. Maternal, your mother's side. So anytime you see nuclear, unpack it and put it all together in the same place. There's a nuclear arms race going on. And now there is a fight for this subset of genetic data. And China wants more of it. And this lady was about to sell it off if she ain't already legit sold it off and is just making the shit show out of it to pretend as if she has not sold it off. What this is treason. If the military has to send out a memo, then that means this lady is treasonous. If she is willing to sell off all this data, mind you, 23&Me biggest demographic is Black Americans. If she's willing to sell off all this data, isn't that treason? Shouldn't she be publicly lynched or something? Stoned? Something? Because I already know she's already taken the check. When anybody want to raise their hand and see whether this lady has taken it? Who thinks she ain't took a check yet? She's already taken the check. That's why she's able to come in on the back end and buy it through her non-for-profit. When have we ever seen this lady do anything for the community? Well, how does she have a non-for-profit that's able to buy a company that's worth almost a $500 million? And it has over $1 billion valuation. The money that she wants for the company, I think, is 400 and something million. I think she was trying to sell it for 400 and something $1 million. You got a non-for-profit? You're not Bill Gates, are you? Who you get the money from the non-profit to be able to buy the company back? You already took the check. You took the check. You hid it under the non-for-profit. Based on how your non-for-profit is listed, you can hide the donors. So you can use that money from China as a donation. It can be seen as a donation. And then they can get the data that they need to make another bioweapon that they need to wipe out the rest of the population. Because if you can wipe the people with the oldest DNA out via blood clots, guys, millions of Black Americans died during COVID via blood clots. Spike protein. A spiked protein vaccine created in the Wuhan lab in China. Now, it's mighty funny that, if I am mistaken, the Department of Defense also had a spike protein vaccine. And I did a video on it. I did a live on it years ago. Circa 2023, 2022 even. Yeah, it was circa 2022. Because I thought it was mighty strange that Stephanie Tompkins, who was a full Korean, was over that DOD project that made the spike vax for the DOD. Was it Moderna? Wasn't Moderna made by the Department of Defense? Was not Moderna made by Biden's Department of Defense? Now everybody's scrambling and scratching their fucking head in their ass trying to stop China from coming and going and putting another bioweapon over here in America. You got these little Chinese girls all over the place. They already got their military in. You think the military gonna come in form of a man? They already got their military in place. They already done mapped that all you niggas. Ain't P. Diddy on trial with these Chinese women and brought him down. They know where all the bodies at. They know where all the bodies are. They've been sending their balloons over your military bases. They know where all your military bases are. They know where all your hitmen are. They know where all your little mercenaries are. They sent their women in to suck their dicks a long time ago. And they fell for it. Y'all fell for it. You didn't learn nothing from the Korean War. Now you're a goddamn fool if you think all this ain't tied in together. You don't know war. You should have never sent your DNA nowhere. Your grandmama said if they can't use your condom, break a home. And now you should know that was deeper than just marrying a foreigner. Them old black people knew they had something good that they needed to protect, and that was their actual DNA. Them old people were around when those testing was happening during the Tuskegee experiment. These elders was around in 1951 when Henrietta Lacks was literally killed. She was killed. She was killed. She was murdered. And I put it in the book, American History Part 2. They stuck a rod made of radium in her uterus, guys. And then from there, they noticed how her cells were split like, oh, radium. Look, so if you add radium into the vagina, the uterus, look at this cell division. Guys, we have something here. Come on, fellas. Then all these German scientists came and looked under the microscope at Henrietta Lacks cells, where they stuck the radium rod in her vagina. Then she was dead. The exact same year of the discovery. Then scientists said, let's do it again. This time we're going to drop it in the area where the women naturally have radium in their system, where the men naturally have radium in their system. Let's drop it in the city where there's a radium spring. Radium is in the drinking water. Radium is on the farmland. It's in the foods that they eat. They used to swim in radium. It's all in their DNA. This is finna be a piece of cake. Let's drop it in Albany, Georgia. And then you went down there to Albany, Georgia, and so many people died. You had semi-trailers full of dead bodies and new genetic material. That makes me incredibly angry. See, China has never stopped going. That's why I don't trust them. China has never stopped going to war with us in America. Never. Never. They never stopped going to war. They won't stop. They will not stop. I don't know why. They will not stop. They make more money off Black Americans than any other demographic, and they still won't stop going to war with us. And the Democrats, when the Democrats were in office, they was the best friends to China. They knew they was going to war with us. Did anybody put two and two together? Anybody? Did anybody put two and two together? Anybody? Did anybody care? Anybody care? Nobody cared because people's pockets were being greased. But now facilities are blowing up. Senate hearings are happening. Indictments are happening. RICO cases are happening. Sex trafficking rings are being blocked. Pizzagate is being cut off. Genetic material. It's a lot going on, and I feel like all of it's connected together. Let's go one more.
I switched from due dates to due dates, and it made me go.
Till Savage, if I could just start with you. So how many customers do you have approximately?
Between 14 and 15 million customers.
Between 14 to 15 million, I think you told Senator Britt just a minute ago that a goodly number of those are minors. Is that correct?
I think we've seen this one.
What I said was I don't have the number.
We saw this one. We saw that one. That's the one I meant to click on. I didn't mean to click on that one. Where's the other one? There's another one I wanted you guys to see. But overall, here's
data.
I think this is
many face technical issues. So how long is the backlog right now? And what are you doing to make sure all the requests are fulfilled?
Senator, the good news is
I think it's at 41.
Whether it is data security.
From our customers, and when
let's see, what point was it? What point was I at? 40.
As to future transactions, your best intentions don't mean much, as far as I'm concerned. But
in bankruptcy proceedings is outside, so any
preemptive online privacy law, which we do not have, and whether it's 23&Me.
Phrase rule against perpetuities and a question.
23&Me. You thought that would be a longer-term relationship. It's not. And then there may
back.
Thank you.
Okay.
I thank you for that clarification, because we deal with that issue repeatedly and the severe threats that exist each and every day. Okay, Mr. Klein, I want
back.
Thank you.
Okay.
So some certainty and some awareness would be a good thing, and I want that in writing. Thank you.
Senator, thank you for that. And I'll take.
I'm trying to see where. Talking about
the Tennessee Attorney General issued a statement after you all filed for bankruptcy, issued a statement notifying Tennesseans of their right, pardon me, to request a deletion. So talk to me about how you were moving forward with these deletion requests.
At 23&Me, any one of our customers at any time can delete their data. For
23&Me to delete their genetic data. Many face technical issues. So how long is the backlog right now? And what are you doing to make sure all the requests are fulfilled?
Senator, the good news is that today there is no backlog.
Good.
We are current on all of the deletion requests. What did occur, is when we filed for bankruptcy, and many states and genetic conditions and life-saving medical treatments. And genetic conditions. And we make sure that customers have the right to actually opt in. We don't default those. Customers are actually clicking yes, they want to conduct or enable their data to be used for research purposes. Many customers understand these are important for understanding disease and genetic conditions and life-saving medical treatments.
Thank you.
Or enable their data to be used for research purposes. Many customers understand these are important for understanding disease and genetic conditions and life-saving medical treatments.
Thank you. Professor.
Or enable their data to be used for research purposes. Many customers understand these are important for understanding disease and genetic conditions and life-saving medical treatments.
Thank you. Professor Cohen, it's my belief that
there's another part that I was looking for, but that kept catching my attention too. They're really, these are different hearings that I'm switching back and forth from. I want to see if, y'all, I'm telling you, when people sent their DNA in to 23&Me, were they sending it in for life saving? Do you think people were sending volunteering their genetic makeup in to this company so that they could create life-saving treatments? Okay, so what have we learned? What have we learned here? It was another part in that Senate hearing. They was just talking about China. They was just hammering down on China about the bioweapons. That's what I was searching for. I don't know how I really don't know how to feel. But what I do know is I know I did my part in warning people not to take these DNA tests. I know I did my part in letting people know that these DNA tests cannot tell you where you're from. I did my part in letting people know that these DNA tests cannot tell you where you're from. And a lot of people who listen to me also took my talking points and start telling people DNA cannot tell you which dirt you're from. So we did our part. But the deception was the people who we could not reach, who thought they were doing the right thing by finding out about their family lineage, not knowing family lineage as it relates to 23&Me, the corporation, is not what it meant to you. Family lineage to you meant what part of Africa you were from, who enslaved your ancestors, slavery. And to them, it meant what ancient kings have we already swabbed in these sarcophagus that matches with these people DNA. How do these Black Americans, Negro, colored, darkies in America, DNA predates anybody else on the planet? Who are these people? Let's do some genetic testing. Let's get their genetics, extract their genetics, and create an AI system so we could see if our AI can read some of these ancient scrolls that we do not know how to read. Let's see if we can create something using their DNA that can actually read some of these hieroglyphics that we have not been able to interpret. Let's see if their DNA can be put into some kind of cyborg, some kind of transhumanism to outsmart current humans. We're going to call it AI. And like I said yesterday, AI could be artificial insemination or artificial intelligence using the genome, the genetic makeup of one to create a system that operates using the ancient data that was extracted from that DNA, specifically that Albert Y chromosome. That Albert Perry Y chromosome. That all y'all got. That's older, that predates the Bible, predates Adam and Eve. Let's see, can we extract some knowledge from it? And if you look up what I'm saying now, you can see that there have been scrolls that have been hidden in these underground Vaticans that they have excavated a long time ago. They've never been able to interpret them until now. Now, does science have the possibility to extract a DNA, put it in the transhuman, we're going to call it AI, and allow that DNA to compute as a human and interpret as a human? And YouTube, while you was busy singing and dancing, people were working to get this done, because if we can get this done, then we don't have to no longer study the Big Bang Theory. We don't no longer have to study the origins of humanity. We could just make a different origin story. And while we're at it, We can make some bioweapons too to take them out. And now while we're at it, we're not just gonna put we're not just gonna put something that can kill them in the vax. No, no, no. When we were saying the vax was killing people, we was getting struck to hell. Everything every video we put out was getting struck, just like the one I did yesterday. Although it's literally proven. Well, no, we'll put it in the hair, we'll put it in the shampoo, we'll put it in every product that comes over there because now we got the formula. We got it from the DNA of the people that with all these samples that we have, all this genetic material that we have. Of course, some got lost in our lab facilities that we had in America, but we still have our lab facilities here in China with the same genetic material. Let's make the products that we're already making, add some additional stuff to it to disrupt the endocrine system. Now we will disrupt some other systems in these females, and now they got fibroids all over the place. They thought they were just shampooing their hair. Ha ha. Little did they know we put a sprinkle of bioweapon in it. Let's put something in the wigs too, and all these wigs are itchy, and little do they know, haha, we put some powder in it because we turned it into the powder form too, as was mentioned in They Clone Tyrone. They said we put something in the chicken. It's some kind of powder. They put it in the chicken. We can put it in everything because we've already perfected it, because we started working on it prior to 2015. We perfected it during that era. Everybody knew what was happening. Everybody that's connected to the CCP, all of the African Union people and who are the big wigs, the CIA knew. The DOD knew. Are we not worth alerting? And a little bitty part of me is even willing to say, you got to tell us what's happening in America. You got to tell the people who got the birthright citizenship over here forever. You have to tell the people who you've been testing. You have to tell the people who have more ancestors buried in the dirt than any other person, than any other demographic that's over here that came over here on boats. And like I said yesterday, you came over here on a boat not long ago. You don't know where I came from. You don't know whether I came on the boat or not. I was here in this house before you got here. You don't know which car outside I drove. What you gonna do any minute, mighty more and say that car over there mine? You don't know which car I fucking drove. I could have walked. However, you got to tell me what's going on in my house. Especially now that the foreign adversary is coming after you too. You got to tell me by default of them coming after you too. Because you know if your genetics is younger than mine, then my genetics will wipe yours out. That's pure science. The oldest genetics will live longer than the younger genetics. That's why we're still here. You have to drop a nuclear bomb to clear everybody else out. It ain't no goddamn guarantee that we ain't gonna survive that. We survived it before. We already survived nuclear fallout. Ben survived it. We know what nuclear fallout does to us. But do you know what it do to you now that you're using some newly found genetic material? See, all these Senate hearings and these judiciary hearings and these this stuff that was going. Please support the channel, guys. Please click like in here, because y'all know how this go. I'm willing to step out on a limb here and say they've been new. This stuff last week. That could have been theater. I think one or two of those senators probably wasn't faking. But that could have been theater. Theater just because you have to let us know what's going on. It's imperative that you know. It's constitutional. Now, I don't know whether all this Trump administration, this new administration that's in here, I don't know whether all of them knew. Maybe they did. I feel like it's two different types of nuclear programs going on right now. I feel like one side got a nuclear program and the other side got a nuclear program. Now that the new side is in, they nuclear because they actually want to build nuclear reactors all over the goddamn place. Now that that side is in, they're exposing what the other side was doing. That's what is going on. The expose. They've been new. They've been new. But now that everybody could possibly be affected. Yeah, you think it's a coincidence that time Trump came in office, he went after China? Everybody sat back during COVID and was running plays. That's why Trump was double-sided during COVID. At first, he was like, "No, this fake." Just bleach. What he said? Blue light. I know blue lights work, but however, you went put do not resuscitate on the books. That pissed me off. You went do not resuscitate, and then y'all start the warp speed program to make a vaccine. So it was two different governments that operated in America that made two different vaccines using the same genetic material that the first one was using from the Wuhan lab. Y'all went from being concerned leaders to playing the game because it's all about money. And then Black Americans suffered the cost. We had to plan the most funerals while y'all sitting here and bullshitting with this 23&Me shit, a genome game for y'all. LabCorp need to be fucking sued. 23&Me need to be sued. I ain't even sent my DNA in. I still might sue. I might sue because I got PTSD from this whole situation. I got PTSD from the amount of funerals that I had to go to, from the amount of funerals that I had to see online, from the amount of people that I had to say, "You're in my prayers. I'm sorry for your loss." You couldn't turn on Facebook without seeing 3-4 people dead. And it was all a game to them. They told you to send your DNA in, guys. We just gonna tell you what part of West Africa you from. We're not gonna tell you we're making bioweapons. We finna come shoot it in your fucking arm and you finna get blood clots. Good luck. Then everything was pushed on us. The vax was pushed on us. By the people who were voted in by us. Your jobs pushed the shit on you. Your jobs pushed it on you. Don't forget to sue them too. Thank you for the super chat, Chief Basketball. I appreciate it. I am yeah. You know what? Every black platform should be talking about this right now. Every black platform should be covering this right now. Every last one of them. Y'all should have heard Jasmine Crockett tell. I was gonna play a part of Jasmine Crockett her questioning. It was so fucking dumb. Her questioning was always a dumb. She always got to say some dumb shit. It was your time to shine. It was her time to shine, and she just turned it into some whole totally different shit. It was her time to really come up there and with the same passion that you see here displayed before you tonight. And then she turned the whole situation on Elon Musk and Trump's fight. I kid you not. In this hearing with the 23&Me people, Jasmine Crockett turned it into something totally different. She did not grill these people like the white folk did. And it was her people. It's not Jasmine Crockett. Is she Black American? I'm starting to think she's not Black American at this point. She came up there reading the whole script that had nothing to do with nothing. And it's like, girl, are you in the same hearing as everybody else? Do you not see this whole trying to sell this shit to China to make more bioweapons to come kill you off? Especially you with your big mouth. They probably already turning your brain into mush with the direct energy weapons. And I was trying to find a clip in that hearing, that Senate hearing, where 23&Me said you all gave them the consent to track you guys. Somebody better go pull up the 23&Me consent page, because according to 23&Me, they said you all gave them the consent not only to use your DNA, but to track you. That's why employers, credit card companies, insurance companies all had access to your DNA. That's why the CCP, when they bought in, they had access to your DNA. So you had Chinese nationals literally tracking people based on their genetics, tracking Americans, and the fucking government and the news media are not covering this shit. They're just burying it with the Diddy stuff. I don't want to see MSNBC at no motherfucking Diddy trial. We don't want y'all to talk about the culture at all. You focus on this. We don't want to see Fox News at no goddamn Diddy trial. What part of that they don't understand? We only want to see y'all cover this shit right here. Document it. So the niggas who are chasing Asians so that they'll know what's going on. These bitches probably swabbing your DNA when you fucking go to sleep. You don't know who these girls' family, you don't know these people. You don't even know, I don't even know one nigga that know Chinese, but I know plenty of guys with little Asian girlfriends. I don't know none of y'all that know none of the Asian languages. You probably know 3 or 4 words. They sending in your toenail samples. They can't wait till you die. Ooh, they can't wait till you fucking die. Why do you think your organs are worth so much? There was never a time on planet Earth where you're supposed to ever been attracted to an Asian woman. And these people always wanted to kill us. Always. And see, it's a group of them. See, they in China, they started World War I. World War II. They started one of the world wars back in the day. I think they started World War I. But see, they're always the ones that throw stones and hide their hands. See, they throw some shit and hide behind white people. Yeah, it's the white man. It's the white man. It's the white man. Well, nah, you slanted-eyed son of a bitch, you. It's you too. Little Down syndrome. It's you too. And then we seen all these Chinese rappers. They just come in and get right up on the culture. They just come in and kick their motherfucking feet up and make themselves comfortable, all while making bioweapons to wipe niggas out. And we supposed to be cool with that. And see, that's why this Senate hearing, that's why they're not reporting on this Senate hearing like they should. This should have been breaking news. Ain't shit happened in Diddy case last week for real. That's interesting. Now something might happen this week, but last week didn't. There was the same bitch on the stand the whole week. The same Asian on stand the whole motherfucking week. Mind you, they talking about Asia in the Senate right now. They talking about Asia in the House right now. Creating bioweapons and literally tracking Americans based on their genetic material. You got Asians that were sent to America to track Americans. How many of them bitches ended up getting married to a black American? We didn't motherfucking know it was. But do y'all remember contact tracers? Do y'all remember during COVID there was something called contact tracers? This all starting to make sense now. Do y'all remember during COVID there was something called contact tracers? Who the fuck knew people were paid by the CCP because they already had a subset of genetic material? They already had a lot of people genetic material. They was paid to come track people. Track me to do fucking what? Why are you tracking? Why are you tracking people? Tracking us to do what you want to spin the block? You trying to spin? You trying to get Swiss cheese? See, had we knew, they knew they would have got Swiss cheese. That's why you got to hide all this shit. You got to sweep it up under the rug. You got to quietly have Senate hearings. Quietly have Senate hearings on shit that's already happened. We already dead. We've already buried our loved ones. Now y'all want to come out with the shit that didn't already happen because you knew. Had we known, we would have better protected ourselves. We was wide open. We didn't protect ourselves at all. All our people died for no motherfucking reason. All of them. They didn't die because they had high blood pressure. They did not die because they had diabetes. They died because they was out planned. They were tracked. They did not plan. They were outplanned. They were tracked, targeted, murdered. That's it. They wasn't sick. They were murdered. They were murdered. The Senate, no. They just did a hearing about it. They did the hearing in order to try to stop more murders from happening. The hearing that the Senate did is almost 4 hours long. The House committee did another very long ass hearing, trying to stop these murders. And as I said at the beginning of the show, 27 states have now filed lawsuits because they want to try to stop more murders from happening. Now, all them fucking people that came through the border, these contact tracers, how many of them have gotten deported? I remember very vividly all them Chinese people coming in through the border. How the fuck did you get from China to the Mexican border? And then if you squint your eyes a little bit, the Chinese people and the Native Americans look alike. All they got to do is grow their hair out as a Chinese person, a Chinaman, ma'am. And now you look like a Native American. Because all you're Asian. Oh. And a lot of people died alone in their homes. Exactly, in Black. And a lot of them died alone in their homes thanks to a bioweapon that was put in their arms that the Democrats, that the people on TV scared them, told them to go put in their arms. They said it will not move out. Y'all, it's a Senate hearing. It's a Senate hearing on this. Well, they told everybody we're going to put it right here and it won't move from right there. And then that thing went all over the body and killed people. Disgusting. It's people today fighting off cancer because of that damn thing. Fighting off cancer. This shit just keeps going back. All these weird growths in the body. Weird growths all over. Yeah, guys, you know. Let me read the chat. Yeah, the Chinese people made the weed. Yeah, the weed. They made weed. They came and sprayed something on the weed. Yeah, they really came and did a lot over here. And where the fuck are the Green Berets when you need them? Why y'all can see they like to use the Green Berets to try to target and kill black people. They've been using them since the Civil Rights Movement era. What about these slant-eyed niggas over here that's killing everybody off? And that's what the Green Berets should be used for. Send SEAL Team 6. Send somebody. Y'all gonna just keep letting us get targeted like this? You know, everybody was okay with the amount of black Americans that died. Is everybody okay with that? Innocent people. I'm tired of speaking out about this subject. I really am. I really am. I came on here because I just refuse. I needed closure for my own self because I lost every motherfucking thing. And this hearing gave me a little bit closure because I knew this shit. I said this in April when I was talking about Albert Perry. Some of you watched me live unpack that. And here they are in June. Repito, por favor. Repeating me. Now, how did I know you niggas was gonna say this stuff eventually? How did I know these timelines would one day add up? I don't know. I mean, because I got old ass DNA, like the DNA y'all been tracking this whole time. Same DNA all the black Americans got. It's our nuclear DNA. That's what they going after, our nuclear DNA. And that's why they like to split up the nuclear black family. Like when we was talking about mind control last night, is splitting up the nuclear black family. That's what it's all about. When you think of nuclear black family, don't just think of you, your husband, your children. No, think of you, your husband, your mama, your daddy, your grandma, your auntie, all of it. It's about splitting all of us up and controlling what we think, because now that you know the mind control work, because everybody like, ain't nobody got control of my mind. Bullshit. You do what they say do in these raps. If they push the Asian women out in the front as these are the new sexy vexins, and that's what you're gonna run to, and that's what you did. You ran to them. They've been getting your DNA the whole time, sending the shit back to China. They've been getting your money the whole time, sending the shit back to the Philippines. They've been getting your money and transferring it back to their countries and studying you, and they can't wait till you die so they can get your organs and do whatever with them, make money off them, do whatever. They've been feeling on your hair like they're all inquisitive, taking pictures of you, doing all kind of weirdo shit. Because we don't even know whether these people are transhuman or not. All of them look like they made an incubator to me because they all looking like Chinaman, man. And they even said that in the Senate hearing. China is big as fuck. Asia is big as fuck. It's huge. Asia is huge. How we have more genetic material in our community than Asia? They said that in the Senate hearing. And that's why China wanted to buy the genetic material from America. Because it's more genetic material than in Asia. What? So that means y'all lying too. Everybody lying. Everybody's lying. Everybody's lying. My grandparents didn't want anything made in China. We should have listened to them. We really should have. We really should have. We should have listened to them. We really should have. And I know, this type of this type of information is not popular. It's not, clearly we didn't get in the algorithm again tonight, guys. Clearly we didn't. However, somebody done heard it. Somebody done heard it. Somebody pissed off enough to start playing into this, and you see who y'all motherfuckers can sue. I don't care if you draft a PG GPT lawyer letter, whatever that AI shit. Draft a GPT letter to sue these son of a bitches. Somebody got to get sued. If you got inoculated and you got proof, somebody got to get work. Somebody got to. If your job told you to get inoculated with all this stuff that you have heard, if you sent your spit into 23&Me, and you know you sent it in just because they did some deceptive marketing and told you that they can tell you what continent you're. I'm telling you. Let's do this. "23&Me. 23&Me. Let me see. "23&Me. 23&Me Holdings Company." That means a holdings company means it contains more than one company. And we know that for a fact because 23&Me actually bought many medical companies. It purchased a medical company. A holdings company in America, personal genomics and biotechnology. Based in South San Francisco. Y'all. "23&Me has never postured themselves as a health company. They do not posture themselves online as a genetic testing company that's health related that can tell you if you can create, if you will someday have heart issues. They don't posture themselves like that online. That is not their material that they put online. Their marketing material is a map of the world. That's what their marketing material is. A map of the world is what their marketing material is. And with this map of the world, they can tell you which area you're from if you send them $300 and your spit. And then they are now saying in these Senate hearings that with that spit, and all they showed you was a map, find your ancestry. Let us tell you where your family derived from. With 23&Me. They use that marketing. And then in the Senate hearing, all of the big time execs sat there and said, we never did that. We told people, our customers knew that when they send in their genetic material, they consented to bettering the world via their genetics. They consented to becoming Henrietta Lacks Jr. They consented to becoming a modern day test dummy. Have y'all ever heard about the Dante mouse experiment? And I'm about to get off here. Please support the channel, guys. Is it Dante? I know it's a nigga name. Yeah, it's Dante. Gotta be Dante. So John Hopkins. How many scientists were involved? Or was it Tyrone? Was it fucking Tyrone? It was a nigga name. Is it Tyrone or Dante? Let me look at Tyrone. Tyrone Mouse. Yep, it was Tyrone. They just redid this Tyrone Mouse experiment. Oh, Lord have mercy. Golly. Let me see, can I go through this real quick and give cliff notes on this Tyrone rat experiment. They say this who it was named after. Nature versus nurture debate. But this experiment was just redone either in 2024. Let me see. Let me take a look on this chart really quick. See, it has years on it. Nope. It says 7th generation. Let me click off it. Let me make sure there wasn't 2 experiments. Artificial selection. Yes, this was it. This was definitely the experiment. I'm trying to see. Let me see, can I find? Let me go off screen real quick and see, can I find the one from 2024? If not, I'll just have to tell y'all about it. Tyrone. Know why I'm thinking of Dante. Dante is the satellite, the big satellite that they have up in space that can shoot lasers. The Tyrone Mouse experiment. 2024. Let me see. Oh, it's a couple of people reporting on it. Okay. Let me see. Where is the damn thing, man? It was about selective breeding. It was about the rat experiment was about selective breeding, but it got so sinister when they was doing this selective breeding. The actual dark rats turned gay. The actual dark rats at a point in the experiment started. Okay, so what kind of sinister motherfuckers would do this experiment? But in a nutshell, the rat experiment, it was about natural selection, light versus dark, and breeding. And eventually, the male rats started breeding with each other. So they was giving these rats They wasn't just watching them in the wild. The new experiment, they wasn't just watching them in the wild. They was giving these rats certain chemicals, and then the male rats turned on the female rats. The dark ones, the light ones didn't do it. But I think they gave the light ones and the dark ones different substances. But the dark rats ended up turning on the female rats, and then the dark male rats started trying to breed with each other. And then the dark female rats was just left to die. This is an actual experiment that scientists conducted. Now they took it was an initial rat experiment that happened, and then they brought it back. So y'all heard about this experiment? Y'all heard about that experiment? It's weird. It's a rat experiment that they were doing this with. Somebody said, look up Universal 25, Universe 25. Hold on. I don't think this is the one. I think it's the Tyrone one. Let's see. Universal 25 was designed to examine the effects of overpopulation on social behavior in a controlled environment. There's plenty rat experiments, by the way. Plenty rat experiments now. Because I pointed out a rat experiment in 2022 that was just about melanin. That they used rats to create melanin pills that turn you dark, that turn white people dark. And they use rat experiments to slow down aging. So it's plenty of rat experiments, but it's one that's got a black name. I think it's the Tyrone one. Let's see. This one is look like it's a universal. Let's see. Universe 25 was designed to examine the effects of overpopulation on social behavior in a controlled environment where a colony of mice was provided with unlimited resources yet faced with constraints of limited living space. See, this was a whole nother study. It looks like this looks like a whole nother study. By creating a seemingly perfect environment with unlimited resources, and researchers aim to understand how society might collapse under stress. Calhoun built an enclosed dubbed Universe 25 that provided abundant food, water, shelter, and nesting material for mice. Population growth. The experiment began with 4 pairs of healthy mice, and the population quickly grew due to the lack of natural limitations. Observation. The researchers observed the social interactions, behaviors, and reproductive patterns of the mice as the population grew and became increasingly crowded. Social breakdown. Despite the abundant resources, the mice exhibited a decline in social cohesion, leading to increased aggression, hypersexual activity, and eventually a breakdown in the ability to care for offspring. Beautiful ones. Some mice developed a detachment from social interactions and became excessively focused on grooming and self-care, a phenomenon Calhoun referred to, God damn it, as beautiful ones. The birth rate dropped significantly. Oh, this might be the birth rate dropped significantly and maternal behavior deteriorated, leading to high infant mortality, extinction. Ultimately, the mice population in Universe 25 collapsed, reaching a 100% mortality rate and complete cessation of reproduction. Did these experiments coexist? Maybe they coexist. Maybe one experiment led to another. Stress and behavior science, stress and social behavior. The experiment highlighted how stress, even in seemingly utopian environment, can lead to a breakdown of social structures and behavior patterns. Overpopulation and its effects. Calhoun work demonstrated the potential consequence of overpopulating, including increased violence, social isolation, and reduced reproduction. The importance of purpose. The experiment suggested that even with all basic needs met, a sense of purpose and social connection may be necessary for a society to thrive. Oh, wait. Let me see. Yeah, these rat experiments may be coinciding. Yeah, this is weird. This is weird. This is weird. Oh yeah, people are reporting on this. This is Reese. Look at Andrew Schultz, the German himself, just reported on this last month. Recession of population. Yeah, these rat experiments may coincide. Cause see, look like to me, who are the rats? Who are the rats? You know, it's giving I don't want to say it. Well, somebody else say it. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. Universal 25 was a eugenics experiment. Yeah, that's not that. The one I'm talking about is the one I'm talking about. Ooh, child. See, when I don't cry a lot in real life, my tears just start coming out, and I just cannot stop them, guys. I just cannot stop, like wiping my eye. Ooh, child. Yeah, that one's just as bad. The chicken experiment was more about melanin too. Shows a lack of melanin makes you crazy. I haven't seen the chicken experiment. Atrazine was a chemical they used on frogs. Yeah, I haven't heard of the chicken experiment. I haven't seen one with the frogs either. That's interesting though. Yeah, but who look at these rat experiments. Look up some of these rat experiments. Like I said, I initially thought it was the Dante experiment, but the Dante, that's definitely the satellite. Not but this Tyrone thing, it's the rat experiment where they said the dark male rats stopped reproducing with the dark female rats, and they started having sex with each other. They turned the male rats gay. Well, they gave the male rats a chemical to turn themselves gay, basically. It's some weird stuff going on. Very weird. Very weird, guys. Maybe this is why they're so adamant about making changes in the United States. They know where we are in this cycle as humans. But this plays right into the mind control. You will have to be able to control a person's mind to know where they are. Otherwise, we will be still mysterious to them. We will still be mysterious. They will still try to figure us out. If you've already got it figured out, then you can do these experiments and know exactly where we are. And that's why I came to the conclusion on yesterday they have used music in order to implement mind control. Now we know we've all heard the rumors that, music was used as mind control. But we didn't really think that it had took hold. Yeah, when you really look at it, it did take hold. It absolutely took hold. They removed all the R&B stuff. And it goes right into the Dante experiment, guys. They removed all the R&B music, all of the love music. Man, I was listening to Silk the other day, and I almost lost my shit. Like, I almost started crying. Like, listening to Silk, like the R&B group. And it's like, how did we ever stop listening to music like this? How did this music ever stop being pushed in the forefront when we was really talking about loving each other and making love? And when we fuck up, beg each other to say I'm sorry. Like, don't leave me. Like, what made us stop doing that? Who was able to come in and control us enough? They use people who look just like us to do it. They use people who look just like us. They use people who look just like us. They changed everything. They changed the music. They changed the programming. And you can think you can think, no way I programmed. I'm a scientist. It's no way nobody was able to program me, buddy. Baby, yes, they did. They programmed us all. They programmed everybody. You ran to R&B music. You ran to gospel music, but at one point there was two different types of music that was being pushed in the forefront. It was gospel and then it was rap. And you listened to both. And even some of the gospel music you listened to started towing the line. Even some of the gospel music we started listening to made us feel like Nuck if you buck. I love Jesus, but I love God, but Nuck if you buck type music. Go to war type music. But they said the war was in the spirit, but it was still the same type of programming, and they don't push you out in the front unless you're talking about these particular talking points. Now, what government who was able to I gotta get out of here, guys. I got 2 slots left from yesterday. I only put 4 slots out. 2 people took 2 of the slots yesterday. I got 2 slots left for land search on the website right now. Only 2 slots left. I got to get some more people out before more slots open up, so I don't know how long that's going to take. But these last 2 slots that's left for anybody who's looking for land search. Right now I'm batting. It ain't but really from the people that I've already started on, it ain't really but one person that I have not been able to clear out. But I just gotta switch to another set of their ancestors. That's it. Cause baby, you got 4 grandparents, 2 grandma, 2 granddads. You got a chance. And that, I'm not just so happy. I'm just so happy that I never used my platform to tell y'all was from Africa. I'm so glad I never used my platform to say y'all was from Africa. I always said, you from here, go after the land. Try to block out all the fuss and go after the land. Go after your people land. If you don't know where to pull the files, hire somebody that can do it. If you don't know where to start with land search, hire somebody that can do it. If it's me or for somebody else, but it's just hard to find anybody else unless you go the attorney route and do the discovery fee. It's just the heirs property situation is probably a reason why you do a rat experiment. What's going to happen if you keep pushing us off our own land to these little boxes? How are they going to react? How are they going to react if you keep pushing us off our heirs property into these little boxes? What are they going to do? How are they going to react? We just killed millions of their people off. How are they going to react? You better shoot something else in the sky so I can start getting pissed off. Because the more I get pissed off, the more I goddamn start praying and people start falling. See. I ain't praying to your Jesus. I ain't saying he wasn't real, because it was three Jesuses. I read that in a book. One of them was going under the name Ecclesiasticus. It's just mighty funny that you guys told us not to call these ancestors' names out, but then when you call them out, and when they find out you're looking for them, Y'all be giving me y'all ancestors, man. I really be trying to look for people. I ain't gonna lie. I call names out. I tell them, look, your great niece is looking for you. Where are you? I'm trying to find you. I'm coming on behalf of so and so. I call y'all name. I call their name. I'm trying to find you. I'm trying to find your land. I'm trying. And I do this by myself. I don't do this when I'm out of the facility because I don't want people to think, oh, she's talking to herself. No. I'm trying to find somebody right now. I need some direction. And I know if I can call two names, I can find somebody, and I'm very successful at doing that. Very successful at doing that. I can unpack a family. And my thing is, with us doing this, I feel like stuff is being made clear to us because of this. Because we are calling these ancestors' name out versus leaving them ignored, leaving them wherever they are. I do believe in the spiritual realm, very much so. I don't believe it's every religion believes in the spiritual realm. They just don't want you to call your ancestors' names out. For some strange reason. They want you to call the people who they want you to call out. Give just this one name power. I'm not saying the name Jesus don't have no power, because guess what? If multiple people start calling this name, it gives it power. If multiple of you start calling your ancestors' name, it gives them power. It's the exact same concept. When I help you find your land, and you know this granddad or this grandmama or this great-great-granddaddy or this great-great-grandmama is the one who preserved it for you, and then you take that back to your family reunion and say, this is the one, and then y'all start calling his name, that makes that person more powerful. That makes your lineage more powerful. That's how I think. That's what happened in my own family. I feel very much that I'm onto something. I've been feeling like that since I came on here and threw it all away. I don't get invited to London no more to speak at these conferences, these transportation conferences. Nobody cares about my opinion in the transportation realm anymore. History was just my hobby. Nobody cares in the corporate realm. When at one point everybody cared what I thought about transportation. That is not a fall from grace for me. I just I'm just not willing to fight to get that part back. I was just not willing to fight to get that part back. You know? So then the hobby became more important. Cause what you rather be? Liked by white men or by your ancestors? You know. You deserve whether be liked by white men or do something good for humanity. Why would I fight to get it back? And that was so easily pushed to the side. You know. Targeted. Why would I fight? And was targeted. I was this year's old when I was told by the Department of Justice where the targets were even coming from. Didn't even know where the fucking daggers was coming from. That alone. You know. I have to start all over. But I'm not starting all over on that side. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Anyway, So yeah, and I close these 2 slots up and then finish the rest of the people that I have on my chart. And then finish the rest of the genealogy clients, which is it's not many genealogy. I probably got like 2 more genealogy clients left. Probably like 2 more people left with the genealogy side. And not many left on the land side either, because I cleared a lot of people out. But yeah, I got 2 slots open. I'm not gonna overwhelm myself with this right now. But I am working to get a better system built. So yeah. So it's like a first come, first serve thing, and then you can pay in increments on the website. So it's Klarna on there, it's Afterpay on there. So you don't have to pay the whole thing, but just get the slot, just secure the slot. So yeah. Anyway, guys, that's it. I just wanted to come on here and talk to y'all about these Senate hearings. So I didn't want to send y'all to bed mad, but this is supposed to be a solution Sunday. The only solution I have is find your ancestors. A couple of people asked me, am I still mailing out books? Yes, I mail out orders throughout the week. Of course. So your orders for your books are coming. Your American History books, volume 1 through 3 are coming. I am thinking about combining them and making a big book, because I was initially going to make a 4th volume, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm gonna make a TikTok volume of American history, where I not a TikTok volume, but I'm thinking about combining all 3 of these books and adding what I would put in volume 4 into the book as well. I think that's what I'm gonna do, and it'll just be that'll be a very thick tabletop book, very thick. It'll be like this thick. It'll be thicker than this. Because I have almost a whole nother I have volume 4 is almost 250 pages already, but it may be at 200 and maybe at like 200. It's 200 and something pages, but this would be a thick tabletop book. So I don't know how I'll do it. I don't know whether I would take some information out and put some information in. I haven't fleshed it out yet. I got all summer. That's one of my summer projects. One of my many summer projects is to find a way to condense this into one huge book and add volume 4 versus putting another volume of this book out. That's what a part of me is saying. A part of me is like, I don't even want to put a volume 4 out. I like the trilogy. I like the trilogy of it. That's just me. And so the other, if I just combine all these together and add what I was going to put in volume 4, maybe take some things out, put some things in, that would be like a special edition. Because I don't know. Adding another book to this, like as a volume 4, would just be wild. I don't think I want to do it. I don't know. I like to work in trilogies. I like to work in 3s. Or should I just do it? Should I just make a volume 4? I don't know, guys. I don't know. But yeah, I'm still mailing out orders. I mail out orders every week. I got a lot of book orders. The book orders are the bane of my existence. I love you too, Chief Bassful. Thank you. Thank you for always supporting. I only got 1 super chat tonight, y'all, from Chief Bassful. He the only one that liked the information, I guess. I don't know, guys. Dang, I just broke this. But anyway, thank you for everybody who shared the live. And yeah. Yeah, I like working in trilogies. Yes, it's on Amazon. The books are on Amazon. Yeah, you can reach your ancestors through meditation. You can reach them through mediation too. I feel like that's all I am, a mediator. I'm just mediating the 2 sides, really. That's all I'm doing. when you send me who you know about what you know about your ancestors, and I go to looking for them. Now I don't just try to I don't do seances and stuff like that to try to find. So don't think I'm doing no weird shit like that with candles lit. No, I'm just really talking casually, like I literally am talking right now. And that's only if I get to a point where I just cannot find the person that I'm looking for. That's the only time I really start asking. Other than that, I just go natural selection and it comes to me. Um I just go very natural with it, and I think ancestors love me. I think they have surrounded me with some kind of special preferential treatment. Um I could be just thinking that I feel like I have obtained favor um from them because I just, boy, I'm telling you, I just really respect everything that they attempted to do and did. I respect everything that they did here on earth. And I also do understand that, you know, while we're here on earth together, we're all we got. Whether you white, black, Asian, we're literally all we got. We got a certain time here on earth together, and just think about that, guys. We have a certain time here on earth together, all of us right now together, and it's a group of people that said, "Hey, let's target and kill those people over there." Now, mind you, we all we got on earth right now. We're the ones that's here together. And then a group of people will still look at us and say, "Hey, let's kill those people." You know, I think awareness means everything. I think it's good for one to be aware of the surroundings. Thank you so much for the super chat, more money. Yes, thank you for the super chat, more money, and all walking. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. I appreciate that. Look at the men coming through. I appreciate that, y'all. Y'all gave me a gift on Father's Day. Y'all didn't have to be so kind. I appreciate that. Beachy said they do love you. I really do feel like it. Thank you, Miss Valerie, for the super chat. She said, "Great show." I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that, y'all. He says, "Spoiled in the spirit. You are their favorite." Oh, I really feel like it. I really feel like I really feel like they have really, you know, shined the light. And I think it's possibly because I shined the light on them. And it's nothing that I did for. I didn't do it for cloud. I didn't do it for nothing. I just did it because I was passionate about history and I was just keeping a lot of it just to myself. But if anybody asks me about it, I'll tell them. And if anybody asks me what I knew about history, I'll tell them. So I obviously knew enough for people to come to me and ask me, "Hey, have you ever heard of XYZ?" And I was like, "Yeah, I've heard of that." Da, 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 da. But as it relates to these individual families and finding people and finding land and then finding that there was such great things that happened, finding ancestors in your family that had wine distilleries and cookbooks and colleges and all that stuff is fascinating to me. All that stuff is so admirable, and I just feel like if we can just honor that, then they will honor us. And then when it comes to an attack, when people trying to attack us, they stop this stuff. And we can't sit here and deny the power of the spiritual realm when it's used in every religion. But mind control would like for you to believe that this stuff is not so. It is so. I'm not going to deny the spiritual realm when you're sitting here acknowledging it. I'm going to acknowledge it too. I'm going to acknowledge that there's power there. I'm going to acknowledge the people that I have in the spiritual realm. I'm going to call their names. Tell them I love them. Tell them I wish I would have had a chance to meet them. I'm literally standing, when I lost my company, I created Hello Plants. Literally using my ancestors' products. I said, I gotta pull this stuff out. because I needed some shoulders to stand on. I was standing on herbs, herbs, a concoction of herbs that my folks put together long before I was even thought about. But I needed the money. I needed to pay drivers. I was going during COVID. My company started going down fast. All companies started going down fast. Hell, Delta Airlines didn't even have a month's worth of savings to keep Delta afloat. Think about that, and then think about all the little companies, all the little transportation companies. We could not stay afloat. We couldn't stay afloat. And then my ass online talking talking about Bill Gates and talking about what happened in Black history and playing clips of Martin Luther King and then who stole the cookies and talking about we got land and folks took note. And next thing I know, I'm excommunicado. It's like, wow. So nobody is happy for us to find out the truth. Nobody. Because if it was real, if the love was real, if people really respected me in the transportation industry and the love was real, people would have been happy. That means the love was never real. So, that means it was never real. That's my conclusion. I tell you what, though, it's a lot of you guys have ancestors who are operating businesses, and I'm telling you, man, if you ever need a business idea, look back into your family and see what was going on. Somebody on here had a wine idea. Do it. Was that you, Miss Valerie? I ain't gonna forget. One of y'all had a wine idea. Do it. Do it. I mean, you're doing God's work. The truth needs to be said. People are brainwashed. Yeah. All the genealogy I've done. Yeah, I've done a lot of genealogy. All the genealogy you've done probably have an army of ancestors watching you, and you're fighting in the spirit on your behalf. Yeah, I think so. That's exactly how I feel. That's exactly how I feel. Cause it's like, man, the attacks was coming, from so many different angles. It's like, when I was looking at the Department of Justice files, them telling me I was a victim. I survived these attacks, but it leaves me to wonder. These was no regular people. These was real-time killers. These was real-time people in this ring of people. These wasn't no slouches. These were militia men that this ring was using. These was no slouches. And it leads me to wonder. Who did not survive? How many people were murdered? It's just amazing that this stuff, even this ring of people. Well, they brought it up. They brought the cartel ring. They brought the COVID stuff, the COVID crime ring. What did they call it? COVID cartel? Something. They had a name for it in the Senate hearing. Basically, the people who was going around giving folks death threats, targeting people, stealing money, taking lives, anybody who speak out, ruining their careers, all kind of stuff. They brought all that out in the Senate hearing. Really, like, ruined people. People were ruined just for speaking out. And the folks who was doing that, they had very much real-time mercenaries. So, what a mercenary will have to understand is you too have ancestry. You too have ancestors. I'd have been a mess around and did your genealogy. You are a whole full mercenary. And I done did your genealogy, and then your people looking at you in the spirit like, what the hell you think you finna go do? You go sit your ass down somewhere and listen. And then, It's already laws on the books that if you kill your cousin, you take yourself off the heir's property and all that. You go to jail, become a felon. It's so many weird laws on the books that was targeting us as it relates to heirs property and the murder of your kin. And so if you haven't done your genealogy all the way down through and through, and they hire you to be a mercenary, you don't know the person you killing could be your cousin or some shit. And then you go back to get your heirs property back, and then they pull up that file, and that be the one thing that stop you. It's weird. But all this stuff was done, and I ain't no telling. It could have been done when that law was written. It could have been done so that cousins wouldn't kill each other over property. However, fast forward to a modern day era, it could be, let's put a campaign out like a mouse experiment to see if we put these people in this certain situation, will they start harming each other? Okay, well, they will. Okay, well, let's put them in this certain situation so that they can start harming each other, knowing we have this law on the book. So all of that could be, you just never know, guys. You just never know. You just never know. You found me back in Kim, was that you that had that wine? It was either you or Valerie. Had that wine idea? It was either you or Valerie. I remember it. You found me back in 2019. You said the candles need to come back. Shonda said the candles need to come back. I sure got some I ordered some coconut wax about a month ago, not a month ago. It was in March, because I was gonna make myself a birthday candle. I just never got around to it, but I got wax. I ordered some coconut wax in March to make myself a birthday candle. But instead of making myself a birthday candle, I did something else. I did something else. I think I did something else. I sure didn't make the candle. But anyway, yeah. You say your trust has a misconduct clause. My daddy knew his children. That's good. That's good. You still have your candle ready to learn? Yeah, I loved making those candles. That series of candles, I may bring that back, because those were good. Those were good. All of them was my favorite. The Alabama, the Timken, the Muskogee, all of them was my favorite. The Seminole. Yeah, they all smell really good. They smell really good. You think about doing some candles too? You should. You should. It was fun doing candles. Candles are really fun. It takes your mind off a lot of stuff. Pouring, you have to have a steady hand, to pour. I actually ended up using it's a pancake. It's a thing that you use for pancakes. That's what I ended up pouring with, the pancake thing. You could buy one off Amazon. They like $30, $20 maybe. But it's like it's a big pancake thing that you just press and the pancake mix come out. You got to work fast when you're making candles though, because the wax is hot. You got to work fast, But I end up using one of those so my hand wouldn't have to be so steady. You said you didn't want to burn it because it's so pretty. It's so many people said that. It's a lot of people said they just got it for decoration. It's a lot of people said that. It's a lot of people said that. Yeah. But yeah, that's the point. I want it to be pretty. I'm very particular with stuff. Anyway, y'all, I ain't want to keep y'all on here. Although I know y'all know we can go all night if I wanted to, because I bought another battery for this camera. It's really good, as y'all can see from the live yesterday. It's really good. It's really good. But anyway, child, I'll talk to y'all later. Again, it's 2 slots left. If anybody want to grab the slot on helloplants.com, You can pay in increments. You can't break up the payments on there. Yeah, those pretty ass candles. Yeah, they were very nice. Do I have one sitting around? I don't need me showing these candles because I don't have any made. The only ones that I have left are the ones that are mine. I don't think I'm gonna sell those. I have 4 that I made for myself. But I burn candles. But I like I said, I have wax. I have wax. I do have coconut. I use coconut wax. I don't use toxic waxes. I don't use any toxic stuff in my products because that would totally defeat the purpose. You got people coming from all sides trying to harm you. You got to have something pure. Yes, I will. Yes, press play. I reach out to you before I start the research. Absolutely. I send you an email prior to, so you can know. So you can know when I'm starting, and then during I may have a question or something, and I may send another email during. But I don't like bother people too much during the process. But if I cannot find something, then I'll reach back out to somebody and ask a question. But yeah, I reach out to you. I send you an email prior to me starting, and then it's all systems go. Like I said, I only have about 2 more genealogy clients left. I just it's got to be a better way for genealogy. So you got to have at least, you don't have to have all of your family tree done when you're reaching out for the land search. You can just give a roundup, and then you don't have to have dates and all. You can give a roundabout. I will do my due diligence to find the person that you're sending me. However, if you don't have any of your family tree done, then you got to do that before you reach out for the land search. If you got names, then that's good. You don't have to have birthday, death date. I can find people birthday and death date. I'm typically good at that. Sourcing that type of information. Sometimes I may have to send people to the health department to pick up a record or two for me, just because at this point I could travel out of town, but some places that I have to travel are a little bit too far, and I don't have that budget to like I used to back in the day. I had just like money to blow. I ain't even gonna lie. During COVID, I was coming off of a big tech company, so I had money. You know, I had a lot more money to put into a hobby, if you will. So I have to be a little bit more cautious these days, especially with finding out that I've lost all of my Bitcoin. I lost a big part of my nest egg. So but some of these records aren't that expensive. Some of the records that I cannot get access to that are on microfilm, that's when I may send, like I done sent somebody I had to send somebody into the courthouse Friday. Just because I just could not find the person, couldn't find the dates, couldn't find it. But if those are few and far between, you know. I'll try to get as much information as I can get to verify the person on the land. In a nutshell. So at best, you will have to go out and get a file, but this is not you ain't spending a lot of money. A lot of times these records are like $5, but I tell you where to go to get it. So, you could bother me. Oh, you're a retired educator in full-time homes. I didn't know that. Okay. You said looking for my ancestral land is in my retired job description. That's good to know. Okay. Yeah, I don't really want to feel like I'm bothering people, because when you hire somebody to do something, essentially you've hired me to help find the land. That's how I look at it. That's how I look at it. So when you hire somebody, you don't want that person to keep bothering you. You just want them to do the job. So that's how I look at it. I just want me to get it done. Y'all don't want me to sit here and keep emailing you, asking you questions. But now that I know some of you guys don't really care about that, you actually save me more time. Because if I could just email and ask a simple question, that's even better. I took the mentality kind of like I put myself in other people's shoes. Like if I paid somebody to do something, I don't think they would be just keep asking me questions about it. But I'll be want to bother people. That's how I'll be. I don't want to bother people because I'll be real busy. So I don't be want to bother people. But yeah, I would love to expand this operation. Like I would love to have my own facility and really do what I had planned to do. But it is what it is, guys. Anyway, I love y'all. 2 slots left. I don't know if somebody done got one of the slots already, but it's 2 slots left on the website. I may or may not see y'all tomorrow. If not, I love y'all. Good night.